Hey there, guys. Welcome back. As today we got episode 9 of the Payton on the Radio podcast. As we are finally back. I know. It's been a while since we have seen an episode of this podcast. We haven't seen one since December 7th. So it's been over a month now since we've seen an episode. Unfortunately, I got hit by a pretty big cold that smacked me down for 2 weeks. And then I was really busy with work. As you guys know, I work at a retail store. So I had to work through Black Friday and Boxing Day. So really wasn't able to record very much videos but for the OGRs. So that's for the lack of podcasts. But now since that is all over, now we're kind of just into kind of like the dead period where it's not going to be too busy. And if it is, it'll be like a day where it's going to be crazy busy. And then after that, it won't be too incredibly busy. So, and of course I got smacked with a cold near like one of the busiest times of the year as well, which was like the worst timing in the world, which is the reason why I didn't see like 5 OGRs or whatever it was from game 31 to game 36. There was no OGRs because I got smacked with like a sore throat. And then not just that, I also got hit with this brutal nose where like my nose would just not leave me alone. It was constantly clogged. You talk for like 20 minutes and I was just pouring snot. I know it's a kind of a bad imagery, but working was painful. Like trying to talk with customers and stuff like that was painful because you're just trying not to have a leaky nose, and it's just it was pouring out like a faucet. It was horrible. It was not fun, but we're feeling a lot better. I took a nice vacation, and now we're back with the podcast and back with watching more hockey, as I've been taking some time off watching hockey and stuff. But now we're going to be back, and we got tons of stuff that we're going to be talking about in today's episode, which I'm super excited about. We got loads of stuff, and I want to get right back into hockey because I wasn't able to really pay attention to it over the last little bit, unfortunately. But we're going to get right back into it. Do not worry. We're really going to divulge into a lot of stuff in today's episode. We're going to be talking about the World Juniors that just passed with Team Canada winning. We're going to be talking a lot about that because I definitely want to talk a lot about that because that was a lot of fun hockey. We're going to be talking about Bedard. We're going to be talking about some rumors around the NHL with a lot of big defensemen, and Provorov apparently looking to be traded away. We're going to also be talking about Chikrin and a few other deadline options as we are getting very close to the deadline as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And also, we're going to be talking about the All-Star games as well. That's going to be coming up as we got a fan vote, which brings back a very different fan vote, which I kind of like this year. It is a fan vote where you could basically pick anybody on the team. So you could vote for Devin Shore on the Edmonton Oilers or Zach Kassian from the Arizona Coyotes. So you can get really memey with these picks. I don't know if the community is really going to get into it like the way that we did with John Scott that one year. But we're going to be talking about the players that got announced. I think one player from each team basically got picked. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, divulging into the stats of a player, if you got deserved to, be an all-star, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm really, really excited to talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool. And the voting that they got set up is a really nice page, actually, too. I should almost show it because it is honestly very gorgeous. So I am definitely going to show you that right quick, and I'll be right back. So yeah, here's the page that they got set up where you basically go to each division. You pick 2 skaters and 1 goalie. You just select. We're going to be doing this a little bit later on in the episode. We're definitely going to be going over this and picking a few players, kind of talk about who I'm going to pick. I'm going to be picking players that have done really good. I'm not going to go really memey. I might do it with the Pacific Division. I might pick more Edmonton older players than anything, but we're going to go over that in a little bit of time as well. But I want to start off with a few other things before that. And I want to get into talking about the World Juniors. Now, the World Juniors just passed by, and what a World Juniors it was. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was amazing. It was an absolute blast. If you guys didn't watch the World Juniors, you were missing out on probably one of the best World Juniors we've had in a long time, where we got to see an amazing gold medal game where Gunther scored the OT winning goal for the Edmonton Oilers, or for the Edmonton Oilers, for the Team Canada. I talk way too much about the Edmonton Oilers, for crying out loud, way too much. But yeah, they went back-to-back this year. Dylan Gunther scored the OT winning goal, and the main guy, of course, everyone's talking about, Bedard. I mean, this guy was phenomenal. And of course, I'm going to talk a lot about Bedard as well because I have a lot of input to put on Bedard. And a lot of people have been calling me crazy because of this. I think Bedard is going to be one of the best players in the NHL here very, very soon. I think he could even be better than Connor McDavid. Bedard, what I seen in this World Juniors, I never seen before from a player ever. Now I've been hearing a lot of people like, oh, he's small, he's too small, he can't do anything, he's like 5'10". Like, dude, I hate that type of crap, because you look at so many amazing players in the NHL that are, Bedard size and are able to do amazing in the NHL. Sure, he's not a big player, but majority of the NHL is going away where it's not really towards big players anymore. It's a lot of speed and it's a lot of smaller players. We've seen it from DeBrincat. We've seen it from, Martin St. Louis, even Pavelski, who's 5'11". I'm going to be talking a little bit about Pavelski a little bit later on and signing that extension, but there's so many players that, are small and do amazing, and still Bedard's still super young. He's still 17, so he could still grow a few inches anyway, so he might end up being 6 feet tall or 5'11", and I think that's kind of a perfect size for Bedard. But what we've seen from Connor Bedard this year, we're going to go over a few records, was insane. The skating of the guy sure is not like super amazing compared to Connor McDavid, but it's still very nice skating. His shot is insane and his release is incredible. The way that he's able to just snap it right quick, and you're thinking, okay, he's gonna have a good opportunity, and then he takes a shot and it's in the back of the net. You're like, I didn't even think that was going to even go in the back of the net. That's how incredible this kid is. He was great at making passes. He was just a great distributor, just amazing. So we're going to go over a few records that he broke. He broke a lot of records for the World Juniors, so we're going to get into talking about. So most World Junior points by a Canadian is by Bedard now, who has 36 points. Past Lindros, who had 31. Eberle, Shen, Cousins were also down there as well. Some pretty good players. Now, not all generational, but Lindros was. And Bedard had 10 more points than Eberle, Shen, and a few other players. That's incredible. Bedard, most goals scored by a Canadian, 17. Eberle with 14, Carter with 12. He blew by all of those guys. Incredible. I mean, just astounding. Most points at a single World Juniors by a Canadian, 23 by Bedard. Dale McCourt was following. Gretzky was there with 17. McTavish, a few big names there in one single World Junior. Most assists, he had 14, which passed Jason Allison, Cody Hodgson, Nuge, a few big players there. And this was the biggest one that I think should people take a lot of big consideration in. Most points at a single World Juniors by an under 18 player. Bedard had 23 points. He was past Jaromir Jagr, who had 18, Gretzky, who had 17, Lindros, who had 17. You had Puljujärvi there as well, my boy, 17. Pavel Bure, who had 14. I mean, he passed some big players where at a time it was easy to score points and easy to get goals, and he was able to blow everyone out of the water on that. That is incredible. To me, I think Bedard could be the future and one of the best players in the NHL. And people telling me, I was doing a live stream yesterday, and people were like, oh, Bedard is going to be on a lower tier than McDavid. No. Bedard is going to be on the same goddamn tier as McDavid. Bedard is going to be just as good as McDavid, maybe even better. His defensive ability for Bedard, even in the World Juniors, was amazing. People are saying, he's small. I don't think people really watch the World Juniors or watch Bedard because they really don't understand the talent that this kid has. Truly, there was tons of people that are like, oh, he's small. But dude, the guy was going out and banging people, dude. It was incredible. He was going out there being physical, playing really well defensively, and he was just amazing offensively and just carrying Team Canada when a lot of the time it felt like Team Canada was going to be out. Bedard lifted this team up and just made them amazing. And it's incredible the way that we could talk about this kid, Bedard, and whoever's going to be tanking for this guy. I don't know who's going to win it. I think we should definitely start doing tankathons now. Every podcast, we're going to do a tankathon and see who's going to get this kid, because this kid is incredible. He truly is. He is an incredible player who I believe is just going to be generational, which he already has been given that generational status, and I believe he's going to be better than McDavid, or at least tied with McDavid. But we'll run through a quick sim lottery, and the winners of the sim lottery is Detroit, which, holy crap, they jumped up 10 spots. Arizona just right behind there as well. There's a lot of scenarios that could happen too. Montreal, funny enough, actually has a lottery pick from Florida this year. So Florida's out of a playoff spot, so that means Montreal will have two basically lottery picks, and even the Edmonton Oilers are in there. Woohoo, we have a chance at Bedard, baby. Let's go. Me as an Oilers fan is depressed, man. Holy crow. But yeah, I think Bedard has been incredible. I'm excited to see what Bedard will be able to do. It's a treat to watch him in the World Juniors, and it'll be a treat to watch him when he jumps into the NHL. Now for a quick ad read from our sponsors, and thank you very much for the support, as this one is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family's jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code PaytonTrim5 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 14 million balls you're saving right there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it ever a game changer, and it certainly has changed my life. Inside this package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, which is right here. It's an amazing trimmer for your nose. Absolutely amazing. You got the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Toner as well, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has 4,000 LED spotlight you need to have a more precision shave. So make sure to go check them out. Get 20% off free shipping with the code PaytonTrim5 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com, and all you have to do is use code Payton5 and unlock your confidence, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, so that is it for the Bedard talk. I gotta, we're gonna hype this guy up, I think, every single podcast, because I believe he's just gonna be amazing. I know I'm gonna probably say that almost every time we jump into a podcast here, but the kid is insane. We've seen a lot of big moves in the OHL as well before we do jump into the All-Stars, which is absolutely crazy, these trades. Olen Zellweger and Shane Wright got traded. Zellweger, I think, got sent off to, I can't remember exactly what team. I know Shane Wright got sent off to Windsor. There was a few other Canadians as well that got sent around in the league. So it's really cool to see these big trades. It's actually quite funny, these huge OHL trades. Like, it's crazy big. How big these WHL, OHL, whatever it may be. They have just the most craziest trades I've ever seen in my life, where it's like 50 picks for just one player. It's incredible to me. Like, it's insane. Like, you just see like a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like, Shane Wright got traded for 2 players and then like 5, 6 picks or something like that. It was insane. The amount of trades that, or the amount of like picks and stuff. But I mean, when you're taking a look at it, I think there's like 14 rounds, I do believe, in the in the juniors. So like, a lot of those picks are just going to be random, so it's better to stock up as much picks as you can, get as much future players as you possibly can to, help your team out in the future, especially for Kingston. They weren't amazing this year, so, you trade away Shane Wright, and then now you get a bunch of picks, so now you can, stash the cupboards full with future prospects that are going to be coming up the pipeline. Is basically what the CHL teams do, is trade away their big players for 7 picks or whatever it may be, or a little bit more, and then kind of go from there. Olen Zellweger actually got like more in the deal. There was a ton for Olen Zellweger. It was basically, a forward and Zellweger, and then there was 4 players that went to the Everett Silvertips. I do believe this is what they're called. And then there was first 3, 4 first round picks, a few seconds. There was like 10 picks or something like that in this deal. Insane. And Zellweger's good, don't get me wrong, but there was more picks traded in this deal than there was in the other deal. Absolutely insane. But moving on towards the All-Star game, and let's get into talking about that. So we're going to go over to this menu here, and we're going to be picking our players, basically. We're going to be going over a few players and talking about who I feel should be going to the All-Star game and not. So already picked from the Metro. We're going to start off with Metro, might as well. We got Shesterkin, Svechnikov, Gaudreau, Jack Hughes, Brock Nelson, Kevin Hayes, Sidney Crosby, and Ovechkin. I like all these picks already. Gaudreau been one of the better players on the Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, the only good player really on the Blue Jackets. Nelson has been having a good season. I'm kind of surprised Nelson is here, not Barzell. I thought Barzell has been doing pretty good this year. And so I kind of thought, why not put Barzell there? Because Barzell has been crazy good this year as well. So that's kind of surprising to me that they picked Brock Nelson over Barzell, because I've been feeling like Barzell has been quite good this year. Like, how much points is he at? Yeah, 41 points, and Nelson's above him. That's crazy to me. That's insane. So we have a lot of players that we could select here that, could be voted. And there's a lot of good players. Holy crow, there's some good ones that we can kind of choose from. So I think lower down the list, yeah, they're not amazing players lower down the list. So we're going to mostly be looking at a lot of the top guys here. So we'll go over and we'll look at a lot of the stats and stuff like that. So Panarin, so had 45 points so far this year, 11 goals, 34 assists. I mean, I love Panarin. I think he's been all right. The power play points have not been very much there. Only 2 power. I mean, he might have some more assists, but next on the list, we got Spinajad. 44 points in just 41 games, 19 goals, 25 assists. A lot of his goals have ended up on the power play. Konecki as well has been pretty good on a pretty dead team there for Philly. I think we got to almost put Barzell there. I'm almost feeling Adam Fox as well, just because Fox, like, you're a point per game defenseman. I think that's incredible. I think we already know who we're going to be picking here. Matthew Barzell, we're voting him. I think that's the easiest vote in my life that we could possibly do here. We'll just drag him on over. So Matthew Barzell, Adam Fox. I don't mind Panarin and Spinajad. They've been great, but I think Fox, you're putting up, point per game totals as a defenseman is very hard to do, and I think Fox absolutely deserves that spot. The kid is insane. Great defensively, great player. I think he just deserves to have that spot. Now for, goalie, the goalie, I think Sorokin has been insane. You got to put him almost up there. I don't even think anybody else is really in contention for the goalie. Like, you got, who else? Vitek Vanisek's been good too, I guess. But I think Sorokin, like, every time I watch, or we went up against the Islanders just a few weeks ago for the Oilers, and Sorokin was amazing, dude. He was making so many big saves for the team. Like, I think he's definitely, I think that's the easiest pick that we could possibly choose. Either that or Kemper, but I think Sorokin's going to be my pick. So Barzell, Fox, and Sorokin are going to be my picks for the Metro Division. And also, guys, in the comment section below, tell me, guys, what your picks for the All-Star game as well. That'll be for the YouTube. If you're on Spotify or iTunes, just tweet at me at Payton Radio. I do believe I'm called, so you can check me out on Twitter as well, and tell me, guys, who you guys think is going to be voted for, or who are you going to vote for in the All-Star game, if I can speak English. So we'll move on to the Atlantic. We got Ullmark, Tage Thompson, who's been a bloody beast this year. You got Larkin, Matthew Tkachuk, who's also been pretty good on a pretty bad Florida Panthers team. Nick Suzuki, Brady Tkachuk, Nikita Kucherov, and Mitchell Marner. So some pretty good selections there, and we got a lot of good selections here for the forwards as well, and the skaters, so I'm pretty excited about this one. Surprised no defenseman. I think I know who I'm already going to select. I think Rasmus Dahlin is going to be one of my selections out of this one. Now, I'm always a favor for forwards, and are a favor for defensemen. So Pasternak, I think this is also an easy one. I don't mind Matthews, but when you're taking a look at Pasternak compared to what Matthews has done this year, Pasternak, without a doubt, has been bloody amazing this year. Nylander's been good as well, but, like, I just don't think anybody, I think this is the easiest one that we could also select. I think Pasternak, for me, is an easy pick for this one. I've been really a big fan of Pasternak. This year, he's been incredible for the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins in general have been amazing this year, and that's why Linus Ullmark got the selection. Because, I mean, Linus Ullmark has been a god for the Boston Bruins this year. He's been just amazing for the team. Yeah, 938 save percentage, 22 wins. He's been incredible for the Boston Bruins this year. Better than Jimmy Swayman, without a doubt, this year. Ullmark has really been taking up the big job, and I've always believed Ullmark could do it. I think he's been amazing. And then Dahlin, I think you could easily add him to the case here. There's a lot of other great players in this division. It's kind of funny, like, how many good players you can really select from this division. Like, I think all these guys here could be in the All-Star game easily, but with only a few selections, I think Dahlin and Pasternak are perfect bets. Goaltending, God, I know Samsonov has not been doing amazing over the last little bit. You got Vasilevsky, who I think might be my pick here. From what I remember, I think Vazzy's probably been one of the better goalies in this division this year. Craig Anderson hasn't been that bad. Matt Murray, I don't think Matt Murray would really be my selection here. Nedeljkovic or Husso, they've been all right. Murray, definitely not Murray. Nedeljkovic, definitely not Nedeljkovic. He's only played like 9 games. Husso, no, I think easily. I don't even think Bobrovsky hasn't been even doing that good this year for the Panthers. With how bad their defensive core has been this year, Bobrovsky's been kind of booty this year. So I think Vazzy's kind of an easy choice. There's not a lot of great goaltending in the Atlantic, funny enough. So yeah, Vazzy, easy choice, easy one on that one. So next up, we got the Central Division here. So we'll take a look at the Central. I think oh my God, there's so many good players. There's not a lot of defensemen here though. So we got Saros, Keller, Jones, Makar, Robertson, Kaprizov, Tarasenko, and Morrissey. So already 2 defensemen in this one. So I don't think I'm going to really worry about defensemen, because I think the next defenseman is Heiskanen. So I think we're mostly going to worry about forwards, which that makes it really easy for me. I really only have to worry about the forwards. So we got a few guys that I really like: Connor, Rantanen, Dubois, Hintz, and a few other players. So you got Kyle Connor, who's had 49 points in 40 games this past year. Been pretty good for the Jets. You got also Mikko Rantanen, who has 48 points. Also to note, I think Mikko Rantanen should be an automatic bet, just because of the fact that this guy has legit carried the Colorado Avalanche this year, with Nate McKinnon being out with an injury, Landeskog being out. Like, he's really been the only Avalanche on the team this year. And then you also got Rope Hintz, which I've been a real big fan of Rope Hintz, but I also like Kyle Connor. So it's kind of like a toss-up between Connor and Rope Hintz. And I almost kind of lean on Rope Hintz, because every time I watched the Dallas Stars play, I've really been a big fan of Hintz. I think Rantanen for me is an easy selection. I think Rope Hintz is also another easy selection for me. I guess you could also throw Nate McKinnon up there as well. What has he done so far? 38 points in 27 games. He's been incredible too this year. But I think Rantanen kind of deserves that spot. You know, he's only been the only Avalanche on the team that's played throughout the entire season. Rope Hintz, just because I've been really loving him this year. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Goaltending, God. I think Hellebuck is probably either that or Gorgia, but I think Hellebuck's the easiest selection that you could possibly select here. I'm so surprised that Morrissey got it over Hellebuck, because Hellebuck's been everything for the Jets this year, quite honestly. I think Hellebuck's been the big carrier for the team, so selecting Hellebuck on that one. And then did all these save? Because I didn't press continue. Okay, all these did save. Okay, cool. Pacific, the last and final division. I think I'm going to be for real with this one too. I'm not going to mess around. I think this one's easy. Draisaitl, easy. I don't want to pick all Oilers, but I kind of want to throw Hyman in there, because he deserves so much to be in this All-Star game as well, because Hyman's been incredible this year. Like, he has been, without a doubt, like, he hasn't been, like, it's so funny because his, like, expected goals for is, like, the lowest of lows, but look at what this guy's been able to do this year. 44 points in just 41 games. He's been incredible. You also got Bo Horvat, who's also been incredible this year, 29 goals, so I'm kind of actually leaning on more on Bo Horvat almost. I'm almost thinking of just taking Dry off, but we all know Dry is going to get a few more votes anyways, but I don't know, man. That's kind of a toss-up between Hyman and Horvat, because I think Horvat deserves it as well, because he's just been incredible. So you know what? I'm not going to be a Oiler homo. Sorry, I mean Homer, not homo. My bad. Homer. Jesus, Payton. Speak English, buddy. Jesus, bud. Anyways, we'll move on to the goaltending, which I gotta say, the goaltending in Pacific has not been very good at all. I almost kind of just think Skinner is probably your best bet here. Like, Markstrom has not been great this year. He's been just ass, Quick ass, Reimer ass. Like, just all these guys are not very good. I think, honestly, the easiest selection in the world for me is him, Stuart Skinner. So, Draisaitl, Horvat, and Skinner are all my selections for that. And that are all my votes. So, there we are. So, Barzal, Fox, and Sorokin for the Metro. The Atlantic, we got Pasternak, Dahlin, and Vasilevsky. Then we got Rantanen. Skinner is, I'm getting blocked him off by my webcam. We got Rantanen, Hintz, and Hellebuck for the Central. And then Draisaitl, Horvat, and Skinner for the Pacific. So, there we are. We are putting in our votes. And we could actually create more ballots. We have 9 more ballots that we can put in. But I think that'll be about it for me. For the votes on that one. So there we are. There we are. So that is it for that. Talking about all the All Stars. I mean, the All Star game is the All Star game. I really don't care too much about it. I think it's cool. But I never really watched the weekend. But it's cool to do these type of votes and see who's going to the All Star game. Gives it, you something a little bit to talk about. So I think that's quite cool as well. So we'll move on to a few pieces of news around the league. Joe Pavelski is got a new extension as well, which I gotta say is absolute steal. The Dallas Stars have been doing quite well on their contracts. They got Joe Pavelski to an extension at $3.5 million for next year. I mean, but Joe Pavelski's been a big guy for the Dallas Stars this year, and he's been for them for the past few years. Ever since he's joined the team, he's been a pretty pivotal piece for the team. He's thrown up 39 points in 41 games. He's been on that top line with both Hintz and also Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz. They've all been playing great together. And has been an amazing line for the Dallas Stars and the team that's actually done fairly well this year. The Dallas Stars have been playing incredible this year and is a smart, extension. You actually get him on a down payment. Really, you're only having to pay him 3.5, which is $2 million less than what you're having to pay him this year. So you're saving a little bit in that, especially with the fact that you're going to be paying Rope Hintz a big 8.4 next year. So really smart move by Jim Neal getting Joe Pavelski on the team and getting him signed back on the team. So that was really about it for the rumors or for the signings that happened over the last few days. For rumors and stuff like that, there's been a lot. Varanen dropped in the waivers. I'm not too sure really what's going to happen with Jacob Varanen. He was put on, I think I can't remember what protocol it was. I think it was for addictions or something like that. Don't quote me though. But I can't exactly remember, but he got put on waivers just a few days ago. I think it's mostly, it's a tough situation for Jacob Varanen. I'm hoping whatever he's dealing with, he gets through it. And stuff like that. But moving forward, some rumors around the league. I mean, there's not really too much tremblings. I think we've heard Ivan Provorov's name a lot out there. Apparently, Philly are going to want to move Provorov. I think it's time also to move Provorov. They've had him for a while now. I think they want to change his scenery a little bit. And he's been a pretty decent defenseman. He's pretty good two-way wise. Been playing, a really strong game defensively. And I think most teams would like to have an Ivan Provorov who could play pretty well defensively, move the puck a little bit offensively as well. Quite a decent player in Ivan Provorov. And then a few players have been talked about on San Jose as well. We don't know if Thomas Hurdle is going to waive his no movement clause or not. Most likely not, just since he just signed that contract. I don't think Hurdle's going to be moving anytime soon. You might be seeing Couture. Timo Meier, I think, is a guarantee that you're going to be seeing him be traded away this year. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of players from Chicago this year being traded away just because of the way that their team works out. You're going to be definitely seeing a lot of their players being moved away as well. Players like maybe Kane or Taves. I don't know who's going to get moved or how they're going to get moved. I'm not too sure, but you can definitely see one of those two players being traded. We've also been hearing a lot of Athanasiou and Domi might be being traded away, or McCabe, Murphy, a lot of those guys. So I think you're going to be seeing a bulk of this team looking to be traded away and stuff. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that throughout the upcoming days with Chicago, because I mean, deadline's only 2 months away. We're getting very close to the deadline. We're actually halfway through the season, at least for the Edmonton Oilers. We're halfway through the season. So for majority of the teams, we're halfway through the season. We haven't seen a whole lot of big deals yet, but I think, we're going to start seeing more deals here very, very soon. Because of the fact that, teams are going to want to get loaded up. There's a lot of teams like Colorado have been dealing with so many injuries. They're going to want to upgrade their offensive core, right? They're going to want to, get some players on their team to help with their depth coming into the playoffs. You're probably going to see Vegas make some moves. I've been hearing that they're going to want to upgrade on the upfront kind of section of their team. So you're definitely going to probably see Vegas in the talks for a lot of big players. I think a lot of the top divisional teams you're going to be seeing make some really big moves over the next little bit. I also think Max Pacioretty is also returned for the Carolina Hurricanes, so he's back in lineup, already 2 goals in the first 2 games for the Hurricanes, and I think was such a great pickup. I'm really excited to see what Patches will be able to do for the Hurricanes. I think he's just an amazing, incredible player, and I'm really excited to see what he'll be able to do. But there's a lot of exciting stuff, and once we get closer and closer to the day of the trade deadline, I think we're going to see a lot more rumors come over the next few days. And I guess one more thing I just seen here, Ryan Strome potentially being re-signed with the Washington Washington Capitals. And I knew day one that this deal was going to be an incredible steal for the Capitals, getting Dylan Strome on your team. Strome has been amazing for the Washington Capitals, throwing up 31 points in just 43 games this past season. He's been incredible for the team. I've really been a big fan of him, and I definitely think he deserves a contract extension with the Washington Capitals. Now, the problem is, do they got cap going into the next season? That's kind of the biggest problem. They got about $5 million in current cap space right now coming into the deadline, but that's with Carlson and Brown and Hagelin all on the LTIR. So once those guys come off, you really don't got a whole lot of money left with you. So especially with also Nicholas Backstrom back in the lineup as well for the Washington Capitals this year, which a lot of people were telling me that he wasn't even going to return this year. So seeing him back in the lineup is really cool to see for the Caps as well, which they've been kind of surging a little bit lately. I think they're even up in the power rankings once we get into talking about the power rankings and stuff. I think the Caps have been, charging. They've been looking really good over the last little bit. So that's going to be another team that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on as well. But I think Strome absolutely deserves that contract extension and is well deserved for the kid. Alrighty, so we're going to get into the last thing of the podcast, but you guys all know what it is. You guys all know what time it is. It's the power rankings time, boys. We haven't done one in about a month, so I expect a decent amount of changes, a decent amount of new teams in there as well. So we're going to be getting right into this one. So a lot of new teams into the power rankings. Just to let you guys know, there is a decent amount of moves around as well. So let's get right into it. Let's just get right started with it. So at 16, we got the Nashville Predators, who this past month have been a pretty solid team, and especially over the last few games, they've had a 4-game winning streak. They kind of lost a decent amount. They were having a 6-game losing streak, but then they started winning some games. They beat the Oilers and Blackhawks, they beat the Ducks, and then they beat the Canadiens, Hurricanes, Capitals, and the Sens over the last few games. They still got some pretty big ones. They're on a little bit of a road trip going up against the Leafs and the Canadiens, but they're by points percentage, they're in a playoff spot right now. They're just a few points or a point behind the Edmonton Oilers right now, and they could easily take that spot. And with them playing so well over the last 10, I think they absolutely deserve this spot. They're 7-1-2. They've been really good, so I think they deserve absolutely that 16th spot in the power rankings. So coming up at 15, we got the New York Islanders as well, who have also just been consistently playing well this year. They moved down 4 spots since the last time we talked about this team, who, have Matthew Barzal, Brock Nelson, Lee, all doing amazing. Noah Dobson, man. I'm saying names wrong and everything, man. I'm slipping everything up here today, boys. But the New York Islanders have been quite good as well. They were on a little bit of a current 2-game losing streak against the Oilers and the Flames. They do got some big games. They're playing tonight against the Stars Wild. And they got some pretty big games coming up. But I think the Islanders deserve this spot. They've been playing quite well, and they take that 15th spot. Next up, you got the Calgary Flames up at 14th. We get to see this team for the very first time this year. The Calgary Flames actually get into a spot. That's incredible, am I right? They were on a 5-game losing streak throughout December, but after, midway through December, they started changing things, getting some big W's, being the Kraken, Canucks, and Islanders. Still, though, there's a lot of concern here with the, the Flames. I think, they've had a lot of OT losses, which is the reason why they're up here at this spot as well with the amount of extra points they've been getting. But they're 6-2-2 in their last 4, or last 10. I mean, Lindholm has been playing really good. Toffoli putting up a pretty good amount of points. Definitely need to see a lot more out of Huberdeau and better goaltending, but I think the Flames, I don't know how long they'll stay in the spot, especially with how well the Nashville Predators and Colorado have been doing, which Colorado's not even in this power rankings this week. We're definitely going to be seeing Colorado, I think, later on again on the power rankings. We actually haven't seen them in the last 2 power rankings, funny enough, but Colorado Avalanche have been playing quite awful, but that's mostly because of the injuries that they've been having, so I kind of give them a benefit of doubt, but I think you're going to be seeing Colorado Avalanche really start to surge back in. They're not even that far of a playoff spot, so you're going to be seeing Colorado really surging, and I don't think they really even care. They're going to be in a playoff spot, I think, no matter what, and no matter what team they're going to face, they're going to whoop some ass once they get into the playoffs. So at number 13, we got the Minnesota Wild is up next. They have moved down to 1 spot. They were 12th the last time around that we talked about them, and this team has done a lot better since the start of the season, playing really good defensively. They were on a 6-game winning streak right after we released the last podcast, they were just killing it. And they've still been killing it since like the last podcast. They've only lost 4 games. The Wild have been really good, 6-3-1 over the last little bit. They've been really good for the Minnesota Wild. Kaprizov has been insane. The defense core has been playing a lot better out of the late. You also have Zuccarello playing really good as well, but you also have Gustin, putting up some good record as well. He has a .924 save percentage, 2.25 goals against average. Gustin has been quite good for the Minnesota Wild as well, and somebody to keep an eye out for the Minnesota Wild. Next up at number 12, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are right now placed 3rd in the Atlantic Division. Has been another good team that has been playing quite well over the last little bit. They've had a 4-game winning streak before losing 2 in a row here in just the past 2 games, but they had a 5-game winning streak throughout December. They've been quite good. Just so many great things to talk about the Lightning. Vasilevsky's been really good. They've had a lot of players like Brendan Hagel's been popping off. Brain Point, always Brain Point's been amazing this year. Sergachev, just so many great players to talk about with the Tampa Bay Lightning as they continue to surge. And I think it was going to take a little bit of an adjustment with losing a lot of the big players that the Tampa Bay Lightning did lose throughout last year. So I think, they've been looking good and looking to take that 3rd place divisional spot most likely, unless they're able to pass Toronto. I don't think anybody's going to pass Boston in that 1st place Atlantic spot. I think it's either going to be Toronto and Tampa Bay will most likely face each other unless Buffalo continues to go on their stampede that they've been going on right now. Buffalo Sabres are 8-2 in their last 10. They've been incredible. So definitely an exciting team to keep your eye on in the Buffalo Sabres because they have been incredible. Next up, we got at number 11, we got a team that has dropped down a lot. The Tampa Bay Lightning did move down to 7 spots, just to let you guys know. But the Devils, they're at number 11, the New Jersey Devils. They moved down 9 spots. Last time they were at 2nd. This has been a team that has not been doing very well over the last 10. They are just 3-6-1 in their last 10 and just have kind of fallen off a little bit here. They're still a pretty good team, but this past month, they really have not been playing good. Since the last podcast, they lost 6 in a row. Then kind of just winning and losing games over the last little bit. They're still in not a bad spot, but they definitely need to pick their play back up with the fact that they've just been up and down. Venesek's save percentage has been dropped. I think Blackwood is also back as well for the team, and he's just not been very good for the New Jersey Devils as well. Did have a decent game against the Carolina Hurricanes, but still let in 4 goals during that game. But Blackwood still has not been amazing since he has returned back from his injury. Jack Hughes has been still incredible for the New Jersey Devils. Of course, you're expecting that from Jack Hughes. He's been on a little bit of a point streak right now as well. Jack Hughes has just been incredible this year. I really love Jack Hughes. I love the kid ever since he got drafted. I knew he was going to just be an absolute stud in the NHL, and he really is. Next up, we got the New York Rangers, who have moved up 5 spots into 10th in the power rankings. A team that has also been surging out of the late and making a stampede up the standings as they're 6-2-2 over the last 10, and they had their top of the wild card spot there, and they've been playing not too bad this past month. Had a 7-game winning streak. And they've been kind of winning and losing, but just finished off on a 3-game losing streak before losing to the Devils just a few days ago. They get a game today against the Wild, and then the Stars coming up as well. So they got some pretty big games coming up as well for the New York Rangers. That is at number 10. Number 9, we got the Washington Capitals, who are back in the spot in the power rankings, and they've been incredible. I'm astounded with how good the Caps have been. Ovi's been breaking new milestones as he passed Gordie Howe in the most goals in the NHL. Next step is Wayne Gretzky. So it's a long ways to that, but I think Ovi can easily hit it. But throughout December, they were on a 5-game winning streak and a 2 5-game winning streaks, and then they've been losing and winning over the last little bit, but still been an incredible team. Ovechkin has just been on an incredible pace once again this year at 109 goals in his career. We didn't really talk about him because I was going to talk about him in the last podcast, but of course got sick, everything like that. But Ovechkin's been incredible this year. Really big player for the Caps, and especially when you get Backstrom back in the lineup and everything like that as well, and Tom Wilson as well. I think this Caps team is something to be scared about here in the next couple of days. I think they're still got to worry about their defense a little bit, but with how well Lindgren and Kemper have been playing for the team, they have 2 solid goalies who've been playing quite well for the Caps as well. So I think that's definitely something to be excited about if you're a Capitals fan. On to number 8, we got the Dallas Stars, who moved up one spot since the last time we talked about them. The Dallas Stars have been just consistently good as well over the last little bit as well. They've been playing quite well. They are 6-3-1 in their last 10. They are number 1 in the Central Division right now, and throughout the last little bit, they've also been, winning and losing, consistently staying good. They got a 4-game winning streak before coming into the new year, and just so many great players. I know Hintz is out with an injury right now as well. I think he's about out for 2 weeks. But Sagan, he's been really stepping up, playing really well. Wyatt Johnston's been a great rookie for the team this year. Pavelski, of course, is incredible. Ben having a really good season this year. So just a lot of big pieces for the Dallas Stars doing really well. And at number 7, we got the Seattle Kraken, who have also been doing quite well. They moved up one spot as well. They are right now 7-2-1 and on a 5-game winning streak right now for the Seattle Kraken. They've been just so good, man. It's incredible the way that the Kraken have been able to play. The one problem I do have against them is their defense. Their defense is atrocious, but players like Burakovsky, Beniers, Eberle have just been incredible. Vince Dunn been playing very good for the team as well, but it's a team that has a little bit of a losing streak, and then they just randomly pull out a 5-game winning streak out of nowhere. So they've been playing quite well, actually keeping a decent amount of goals out of their net during this 5-game winning streak, even keeping the Oilers and the Leafs to only 2 goals against. So they've been doing quite well against that, but they have to definitely outscore a majority of the teams that they do face because of the fact that they just don't got great goaltending, and they don't have the strongest defensive core in the world. Next up, we got the Winnipeg Jets as they take 7th spot in the power rankings. They have also a 5-game winning streak, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. The Jets have just been incredible this year, surprisingly. Connor Dubois, Morrissey's been amazing for the team this year. You have Hellebuck, who also has been quite good for the team this year, who is just really taking the charge again at .928 save percentage. He's really been the big reason why this team has done incredible this year, and the reason why they get really placed up in this power rankings here pretty high is because of this 5-game winning streak that they're on. They're really taking charge this year. They've been playing great. Even throughout December, they were okay, but they've definitely been a lot better now over the last few games, and really been playing really well defensively and shutting teams down. They even shut down the Edmonton Oilers on New Year's Eve to just 1 goal against and beat them 2-1, which not very many teams do. Moving on, we got at number 5, we got the Vegas Golden Knights, who have fallen down a few spots. They moved down by 1 spot. They've used to be pretty high up in the power rankings, but have kind of fallen since, the beginning of the season, where they got off to an incredibly hot start. And then kind of since then, it's still doing really good, no doubt, but they've been losing a bit more games than winning compared to what they were doing at the start of the season. I mean, they were 13-2, having a 9-game winning streak, so it was down to be a downfall sooner or later, but they've been winning and losing, but still, getting 2-game losing, or winning 2 and then usually losing 1, which is a good way to go about things. If you at least lose 1 game, you bounce back with winning 2 in a row, and the Vegas Golden Knights have definitely been able to do that over the last few games. They got some big games coming up against the Panthers and the Oilers. They got a little bit of a break as well. They're taking a break from the 7th all the way to the 12th, so they got a few days to rest as well. A few players from the Knights, Logan Thompson, still been incredible for the team. And then you got Stevenson leading the team in points. Eichel has been incredible, but he's been injured as well, which is also kind of the reason why they were kind of not doing amazing. Eichel was gone with an injury. Smith, still incredible. The defense core being pretty solid for the Knights as well. Moving on, though, we got the number 4. We got a team that jumped up a lot of spots, and they moved up 12 spots, which is the Los Angeles Kings. They're just a little bit above the Vegas Golden Knights because of how hot they've been. They absolutely beat the Edmonton Oilers last night 6-3, and they've been playing quite well over this past month. They've really been putting together some winning streaks. I think they've been amazing. Kevin Fiala has been super hot as of late. He has 46 points in 44 games. He's the big contributor for the team right now. And Phoenix Copley, the AHL call-up, has been quite good for the team as well. He's been kind of taking the starting reins for the team since Quick and Peterson have not been very hot for the LA Kings. But with the newest surging goaltender in Copley, they've been doing pretty good. Do I think it's going to be stable? I don't think so. I don't think this is stable for this team. They've been not great defensively and have not had great goaltending. So unless Copley really takes a charge, I really don't really see him, jumping up too much more than that. At number 3, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs, who in their last 10 have been quite good. They're 6-3-1 with right now a 2-game winning streak as we're talking about it right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs also been really strong, been playing really good hockey over the last little bit. Samsonov and Matt Murray not playing too bad. Samsonov has been not too great over the last few games. He did have a pretty good game against the Detroit Red Wings, but even though they have been winning, Samsonov has not been putting up the greatest records in the world. But the team has really been bouncing back and, staying strong from. I think the biggest thing is they definitely need some scoring depth and some extra defense, but the defense has been really strong for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year. Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares have all been playing really good for the Maple Leafs this year. In this past month, the Leafs have been playing really strong hockey. I think that's definitely something to really take into account. I think the Leafs, maybe they could be different this year. I'm not too sure. I don't think I'm going to hold any belief on the Maple Leafs making it even past the first round this year unless they can prove me otherwise. But the Leafs, they're doing good. They're at the 3rd spot in the power rankings. And at number 2, we got the Carolina Hurricanes, who just got Max Pacioretty back on the team. They have just Martin Necas popping off, Svechnikov, Aho. They've also been quite amazing over the last month as well. They're on right now riding a 3-game losing streak, but they just currently came off an 11-game winning streak where they were just absolutely popping off. They moved up 6 spots, we all know who's first place in this power rankings once again. I don't think this team is ever going to move away from this power rankings. The Boston Bruins are right on a current 4-game winning streak. This team has just been top down incredible, from Pasternak to Marchand to Allmark, who only has 2 losses this year, to just about everybody on this team has been quite good for the Boston Bruins and has been absolutely incredible, to say the least, for this team, and has been really, really exciting, to say the least, as well. So a lot of great stuff to talk about with this team for the Boston Bruins, and has been a really exciting team to just watch in general. This team has just been ripping through the NHL. I'm definitely not excited. I don't know if the Edmonton Oilers are going to even face this team, but if we do, I'm kind of scared. Oh yeah, February 27th. I'm scared for that date, and I'm not excited. That's going to be an instant L, to say the least. But they won the Winter Classic against the Penguins, which was a lot of fun to watch. The Bruins have just They simply have just been a fun team to watch this year. They've been absolutely ripping up the NHL, and I'm excited to see what they'll be able to do in the playoffs when that time comes. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you guys for watching episode 9, whether you listen to it on the Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you watched it on YouTube, it's very much appreciated there, guys. But for now, guys, I'm going to end it all off here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to go check out Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Go give it a follow. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well if you're watching it on YouTube. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.